All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Glad you could all join me here today for this very, very special show. I have Brian, who is the owner of the Gig Apps Exposed and DoorDash Sucks channel, waiting live on the StreamYard. We're going to bring him on here in just a minute or two, so stick around for that. But before we get to all of that, let me first of all make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. Got to do that. Got to make sure the tech works, right? All right. So let me go ahead and first of all check out the back end of YouTube. Give me just a second here. And it looks like it is rolling well. Let me also make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out. And it looks like it just did. And let me do a sound check real quick. Give me a second here. All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World. All right, everything is rolling well. What's up, Damian Blaze? Hey, folks, just to remind you all, there is a 1-minute delay between what Brian and I say here and what goes out live to you folks on YouTube. As a reminder, I do that in the studio streams because if something happens and we need to dump the last minute of what we said to be YouTube compliant. That's why, I have that set through my open broadcast software. I use OBS to do these streams for higher quality and have more functionality. So if it takes a little bit longer to respond to some chat messages, please be patient. We'll get to as many chat messages as possible. And we're only going to be responding to, relevant chat messages. So if we don't choose yours, please don't feel that we're ignoring you. We have a lot to talk about, and we only have about an hour and a half max to do it. Brian does have to work tomorrow, so we've got about 90 minutes max to do this. So without further ado, let's bring the man of the hour live on the air right now. Please welcome Brian, who is the owner of the DoorDash Sucks channel and Gig Apps Exposed channel. Brian, let's welcome you to the show and give you a big, wrong screen, big, huge round of applause. Welcome, Brian. I can't hear you, Brian. I think the audio from the YouTube is blending in with your audio on StreamYard. Let me go ahead and put you full screen on the StreamYard there. Still can't hear you, Brian. I think the other app you're running, you may have to go out and come back in. Yeah, we still can't hear you. You may have to go out and come back in. So while Brian does that and I wait for him to pop back on the StreamYard, let me go ahead and check out the chat here real quick. We've got Jeff Thomas Black in the house. Hashtag stand with Torp. I do too. Jeff Thomas Black says unsub Cherry. Yeah, I would have to agree. We're going to talk a lot about the drama channels and the fluffernutter channels and what's a productive use of your time and what isn't. Let's see here. DoorDash Revolution, welcome to the show. Congratulations on your mod wrench there. Damian Blaze, sup, Eli, hello, how's it going, my lady? Respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Dawn is here. Hey there, everyone. That's my wonderful girlfriend, Dawn. We're going to be celebrating 2 years this September. Actually, it's this month. And there's Brian. He's popping back on. So let me go ahead and bring Brian back on here. Brian.
Hi, Eli. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you, brother. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good. How's it going? How's everyone doing? Of course, I can't see the chat, so. But anyways, go ahead. It's nice to see you all.
And it's great to have you here, Brian. I'll let you know what's going on in the chat. Anything relevant to what we're going to be discussing here today, I'll make you aware. We might throw in a couple of trolling messages for shits and giggles, but we're going to try to keep it as professional as possible. And we got about 90 minutes or so to get all of this out there. So we're going to get right to it, Brian. I know you had a bunch of things you wanted to say to start off the show, so I'm going to turn things over to you. I'm not going to be like Dad Dash and talk for 30 minutes before I give you a chance to take a breath on the show. So I'm going to turn it over to you right now, brother. There you go, man.
Okay. Sure. So I just want to say that you're all under arrest. I am the DoorDash police officially, and I'm just kidding, folks. Uh, but no, the thing is, and we'll be addressing that in the future by next week or so. But anyways, thing is, I wanted to start out and say that for anyone that doesn't know my channel or has not seen any of the stuff I do, if you're new here, if you've come to Eli's channel. I'm a channel that exposes the lies, the fraud, the manipulation of the gig app companies, trying to get the drivers a better than fair wage. And that's what I've been trying to do for the past 2 years with my channel. A lot of behind the scenes stuff happens that I don't even bring to my channel sometimes because I don't want to give false hope or different things that aren't going to happen or whatever. So I wait till things go through. There's a lot of like lawsuits that are pending around the country too, with especially when it comes to DoorDash, but they're not the only company because I cover the other apps. But because of the urgency of the Glitch scandal thing, we have to cover it. It's just important. And, it was sad to see the past 3 weeks or so, or the first week that it broke, that we found out about it, but then no one wanted to cover it. And it's sad because like even channels that probably had nothing to do with the glitch or whatever, or just knew about it, just didn't want to touch it. And it was like a conspiracy of silence. It's kind of sad to see that happened. But basically, now that it's come to light, and thank God for Thomas Schubeck too, because he made a whole lot of videos that people didn't really like, because it was bringing the snakes in the grass to the surface. You know what I mean? And that needed to be done in order to bring out Glitchard, who admitted to basically fraud. I mean, he came out and said that he was pushing Top Dasher, and he did that on Pedro's stream. And then it progressed into him doing a video the very next day in which he told us the exact whole thing, even things I didn't know about, like just this thing with airplane mode and putting the shutting the phone on, whatever it is. If you want to go learn that, go over to his channel because he's the biggest pusher of that. But basically, he was tying us into. Most of us followed him for a long time. There's a lot of testimonials that are coming out right now. We're gathering a whole lot of information and testimonials. As a matter of fact, Robert Reese, shout out to him, because he did an interview while Pedro had his live stream last night at the same time, and he was basically talking to this guy who talked about how he was scammed out of money and everything, and he has all the proof of it too, which is cool on that end. But like, it's just sad because like this whole community has been just divided from the very start, like the very start of everything. Like there's people in all different camps and directions, and there's people who are gatekeepers who try to protect other channels and other interests and things like that, because there's a lot of money on the table. But the people who suffered through all that are the regular, just average Joe, everyday driver who drives day in, day out. Some of us, I know I'm doing 7 days a week right now, just with my regular job and DoorDash and the other apps. But it's getting harder and harder because the economy is getting really, really bad. And that ties into something I want to just touch on, because when I first started my channel, I basically came out and explained to people that, the next few years, next 5-10 years out, is going to be real hard, real rough. Because what's happening is the corporations are bringing in what's called a technocracy. They're bringing in a corporatocracy. Basically, it's fascism and communism all wrapped up in a nice little bow for everyone to accept. And they do that through the corporations. And so the gig apps are really part of that whole scam, because it is a scam, because it's almost like a pyramid scheme, because all the money rises to the top and the people at the bottom just have very little. And they know that you need some money, so they'll give you just enough to survive. And they know how to throttle you on the apps and not pay you what you're worth. No one will ever pay you what you're worth. They'll only pay you what they can get away with paying you. So, and I'll hear people say, well, you can make any money you want and go out and do what you want. No, well, how many hours do you think that should be fair for a person to go out and work and make a fair living, so they can pay their bills? And you wanted to say something, Eli? Go ahead.
No, I agree with you, and I have some screenshots I'm going to be showing you folks here in a bit. And Brian, just letting you know,
Yeah,
I'm assuming you're not on a headset. When you're not talking, either use a headset or mute when you're not talking because it's feeding back in. Do you have a headset by any chance, or?
I don't, but I can mute myself. I'm sorry. I'll mute
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
Sorry.
So when people don't use a headset when they come on StreamYard, it'll feed back in unless you mute. So just mute in between the times we talk, so that
Sure.
way
Sure.
I
You
don't
you
hear
got it.
myself and get distracted. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, no, I have some screenshots to share here in a little bit, and it is regarding what Pedro DoorDash Santiago mentioned on his live stream yesterday on Sunday. He mentioned what he made this week. He mentioned his active hours and his dash time and active time. And I'm going to break it down even further and show you folks why and the real reasons why Pedro's able to make a sustainable living through DoorDash. There's one reason and one reason only. And when you see this, is going to blow your mind because Pedro is just in the absolute best place he could be. Let's just put it that way. And Brian, you were right all along. And I'm not just saying this to, suck up to you. I speak of the truth. Brian's been saying this all along about Pedro's market, and it must be like the golden market of DoorDash. While technically it's not, there is a reason why it works for him. I'm going to show you folks on the screen here in a second. But Brian, go ahead. Make sure you don't forget to unmute every time. And then remute once you're done talking. And what else did you want to say before we get into these screenshots and further get into this?
Well, what I wanted to say was that a lot of people try to deflect truth. They try to deflect things that are actually going on, but they don't take the time to actually really research anything. And some people are actually put in as plants to deflect, so it throws like the whole community off. So they say, "Oh, that he's a kook, he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about," right? So then people go, "Yeah, he's probably a psychotic man or something." That's what they're trying to do to Jeff Thomas Black now. They're trying to say that he's mentally ill and all this stuff, which is not, it's furthest from the truth. The guy's spot on at what he tells you. All he ever tried to do was help people like I'm trying to do. But it takes a courageous men to stand up in the gap for people to do the right thing, because there's lots of people suffering. You might say, well, go get another job or whatever. Well, the problem is all of those companies are all tied into the same interest, like BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and the World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab, all of those guys, and trying to bring in the technocracy. And then they know that the people are going to fight back about it, right? So what they have planned is to bring in basically autonomous cars and electric vehicles and robots and all that for when there's a kind of a fight back on that, because they're like, well, we're not going to pay you anymore. We're going to get robots to do it. Now, they're not going to take over fully 100%. They're going to implement them slowly. And they have an agenda. It's called Agenda 2030. And that Agenda 2030 plan includes the trying to do the sustainable goals of the what we call the New World Order, basically. And they want to bring in, this whole technocratic system and impoverish everyone, basically make you poor, because then you're easily controlled through that system. And there also is a central bank digital currency system coming in. People might not know about that, because one day you're going to wake up and you're going to go to your bank account and it's either going to be frozen or $0 in there. And you say, sorry, we're not using cash anymore. They're switching over to that system. This is all tied into this whole thing. Anyways, go back to you, Eli.
Cool. Right on. So thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. And I agree with pretty much everything you said there. And yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the banks. I hope it doesn't go that way. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying. And I just hope for the best for everyone. Let's go ahead and switch on over to the browser screen here. Now, Brian, I'm going to read to you what's on the screen, because you're not going to be able to see it on StreamYard, but you folks out on YouTube will be able to see this. So let's just go ahead and switch on over here. Oops, I'm on the wrong screen there. This is a different screen I used to use in the past. I have so many things going on here. Let's go here. That's where we want to go. All right. So I'm going to read some comments that came out, a few comments that came out from Pedro's, channel. And Brian, go ahead and unmute and just jump on in here when you have something to say. Don't even worry about interrupting me. Just jump on in. All right. So this is John Billings, who's a brand new DoorDash driver and YouTuber. He's a very young guy, probably in his early 20s. And I'll tell you this, if I had the opportunities in my early 20s that these young bucks have nowadays out of high school, and instead of going to college, they have all these opportunities like the gig economy and YouTube and all that. I'll tell you, I mean, if I started doing this back then, I would have done a lot better. And John Billings has an opportunity now to really make a name for himself if he does things the right way. And he's actually now getting entangled with Pedro DoorDash Santiago. Initially, he was talking about this glitch, and then all of a sudden, he ends up going on to Pedro's show, and then he writes this in the chat: I want everyone to know I do not support the people bringing a lawsuit against these gig tubers for some dumb glitch. Well, I understand where you're coming from regarding that, John. I don't think it's really, I don't think we're trying to, these people that I'm associated with, we're not trying to get anyone in trouble here. We're just trying to make a statement that, hey, look, the time has come for you folks to start being honest, genuine, and real. Stop the fluff content. Stop, telling people they need to increase their AR and top dasher matters and acceptance rate matters when they themselves have been using this glitch to artificially inflate their AR, and they are still doing it to this day. I still believe Pedro is doing it to this day. I still believe he's been using it all along, and I'll show you some proof here in a second. At least, you'll see in a second. But anything you want to add to John Billings? You've seen him out there, right, Brian?
Kind of strange. Well, first of all, I just want to say that none of us are really trying to go after any one specific person, and actually, it's really the companies that are doing this to us. But like, there are plants, there are people who are put in positions to make sure that agenda in the gig community is pushed. Okay. There are some really good gig tubers, but the problem is that they even get picked up on and told, hey, you're not towing the line. You got to do what we want you to do, And then if you don't go along with it, then they just get blacklisted or whatever, But the thing is that more and more awareness is now coming into the community, because now after this glitch thing, especially after Richard admitted to the fraud in his, because a lot of people lost money following him. It's against a lot of this stuff, right? You need to, it's not even about the glitch. I don't want to ever use the glitch. I've never tried it. I've never did it once because ethically and morally, it's not right. But there's also labor laws and things that are in place to make sure people have a fair shake. And even if they're not, through this experience, there will be new legislation and things that are brought forward, so everyone's on a nice, even playing field. Because for the longest time, those guys had, and I'm talking about the gig tubers, not all of them, but they had their party and they had their cake and eat it too. And we didn't even get a chance to have one slice of that cake. So it's not fair to us. And then you have other channels that are just deceiving you, like Trevor's Deliveries. He's a good example, because he'll show you, what he does is he goes out and drives for like weeks on end and he does all of the work that he does. He actually delivers those deliveries, but he edits the videos together by going out and showing you, okay, made $28 here, made $36 here, 15
right
here. And he'll hold all of those, he'll take those screenshots for weeks, and then he'll edit a nice video and say, hey, I just made $700. And then the average driver looks at that and says, let me go out and try that. I want to make 700 today. And they can't do it. They can't even make 125 in 12 hours in some areas of the country.
Yep.
Sometimes you're under 100. And it's terrible. It's like, so that it's a fantasy land and it's not reality what's going on with the gig tubers are telling us. So the new standard of way is to show your phone in your car with another phone and not to take it off of there so we could see everything that's coming through. Because if they don't want to show you transparency, then they're a fluffernutter channel, that they're just out for themselves and they don't care about you. And it also would show, well, when they glitch up, when they do this glitch, they go home and they do it one or 2 days out of the week to get it back up to 100. Then they start using it, and they'll start making videos after they're around 74, 75%, maybe 80%, after they've already gone out and made some money with the glitch. And then they just tell you, oh, look, Mike, I went out today and I got up to here, but they're not going to show you using the glitch because they don't want, that's the secret, right? And that's the secret that came out. Anyways, back to you, Eli, if you want to say.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that, Brian. And yeah, no, I completely agree with what you're saying. And I'm looking at some of the chat messages here. Damian Blaze says, not me, no way. He's already exposed because the man overplayed his hands and ego, talking without realizing. All it takes is observation and instincts to get a read into someone. No, absolutely. And so, and I'll just say this, my trolls that have paid Pedro to come at me are coming in here on sock accounts pretending to, to be him and promote the Pedro and Hannibal show tonight, which I'm not going to be watching, and I could care less. They can talk about us all they want.
Well, let me say something about that. That's all about trying to roast me and just. There's two. I put both those videos up on both channels talking about what was going to happen. See, that almost, if he hadn't have attacked you and other people and stuff, it probably wouldn't have gone to the level that it's gone now. But it had to go to where it's going, because in the end, whatever comes out in the wash, let's just say this: the people who are truly innocent and not guilty of whatever, you got nothing to worry about. You have nothing to worry about. But if you did, and there's some merit there and some credibility of the point of screwing people, like, well, that's not credibility, but I mean, you're trying to fraud someone, you're trying to do something. It's not even the people who use the glitch. People that are using the glitch, no one's going after them. It's some channels that said that we should do top dash or acceptance rate matters and all of that, and they profited off of that, and then we couldn't do it. I wasn't using a glitch. I was going out working my ass off. I was out.
Me too.
Thomas Schubeck used to work 18 hours a day going out. He barely could make 160 to maybe $200. There was a couple of times he made close to 300, but most of those days, his market's dead too. But you might say, well, that's market specific. Yeah. Some markets, you don't even have to worry about glitches or anything because there's so many orders coming in. But most markets are not like that. Anyways, back to you, Eli.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Flex is here. Mr. Flex, listen, I don't want any drama here. I'm getting very close to banning you and always cherry picking and all these drama channels. Seriously, man, we want no drama. We're trying to get the right thing done here, and we're actually more on the same side than you think we are. So instead of coming in here and saying things like you're a fool, be a little more mature, dude. Be the grown ass man that you are, dude. Come on, man. Here's the thing.
I wanted to say something. I mean, not I don't revel in this or anything, but like when the people that are going to do the central bank digital currency thing, screw everyone over and every bank account's going to go to zero, basically, right? I just feel bad. I do feel bad for the people because they're going to wake up and go, geez, we're all in the same boat. None of us have any money, and that's the funny thing. Like, they think it's a conspiracy and they think it's foolish, but they're going to see. They're going to see. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But the economy's getting really bad, and people are just. Why do people go and work for DoorDash? Because on every commercial that you see, it's DoorDash, DoorDash, DoorDash. So it's a saturation thing too. It's fully saturated. Those glitches help through the saturation for people who didn't know it, because it segregated them to get all the good orders and everything, So
exactly,
there's that issue.
Exactly. Okay, let me go ahead and go back to the browser screen. And let's go to the next screenshot here. And then Dad Dash comes in on Pedro's channel and says, hold on a second. Hold on one second. Okay, everyone, listen. And my girlfriend just came in the room here, and you know how ladies are. I love my woman very much. You know, she's not liking the fact that, you know, people are criticizing, you know, us for blocking people. We block trolls here and we block haters here. That's the way we handle things. Now, if you want to, you know, see what was said on the replay, you can look at the screen recorded version. I screen record the chat. You can get the information there. But, you know, seriously, I have told all my moderators, including my lady, who helps me run these channels, she's a part of this, to block trolls and haters. So please, do not question us on that. I know you didn't mean to question us, whoever it was. Let's just move forward from that. The FBI, we are watching, Brian. The FBI is in the house.
Well, you know, I just want to say something funny about that. Because like the people that use that stuff, right? Do you think that the officials are not going to try to research that? They can get those person's IP addresses and find out who they are. Because when you impersonate the FBI like that, there's be serious consequences. See, my family is from law enforcement and everything. I never mentioned that in any of the videos that I ever did, but like it's funny how, you know, we had knowledge of things that are supposed to be lawful and unlawful. So that's at their own peril if they want to do it. It's stupid, you know. There's lots of screenshots too that have been taken over the past 3 weeks, which is be all turned over to the authorities, you know, through this whole thing, because they want to sort it out. Anyways, no, they'll want to sort everything out. No, go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah. A lot of the trolls are in here just for drama, you know, drama.
Oh, of course.
And all that. So,
yep.
Anyway, let me go back over to the browser source there. And if you can mute Brian, just so I don't hear myself echo in the background. Sure. Sorry about that. I should have reminded you to bring some headphones, but that was my fault. Okay, so Dad Dash gets into this conversation and says, I'll leave the floor open for Eli, Brian, or maybe the true cult leader himself, JTB, Jeff Thomas Black. Listen, you know, there are a lot of videos on Brian's channels, and I'm going to turn it back to you in a second, Brian. There are a lot of videos on your channel that you just put out over the last maybe less than 12 hours that show, you know, Dad Dash Steve's real true colors. He was totally on board with this, supporting Jeff Thomas Black, and all of a sudden he flips the script. Because, and I'll show you in the next, message here. He flipped the script. Let me just get to that, and I'll share this with you before you respond, Brian. Dad Dash says, now just need that watch time. Right. You got to 1,000 subscribers. You need 4,000 hours to enable ad revenue on your channel. That's what it's all about for you, Dad Dash. And that's why you flipped the script on, you know, going one way and supporting Jeff Thomas Black and this whole thing, to going the drama route, to get to 1,000 subscribers quicker and to get to 4,000 watch hours. I mean, you're not going to listen, even if you get ads activated, you're not going to get enough views to make enough in ad revenue when you can't decide which way you want to go, Steve. What are your thoughts about that, Brian? I mean, this guy is all over the place, man.
Okay, so the thing with that, right, is like the only reason he's up over the 1,000 views is because we gave him the subscriptions, because
right,
that those are just people that want to keep close watch on him and just listen to everything he says. It, you know, like if I'm not, I mean, first of all, my channel is not here for entertainment. My channel is here for knowledge and to help the people and to expose things. That's what it's there for. And I'm not just a regular gig tuber, although I will show you some tips and tricks, but there's no tips and tricks anymore because that's out the window with the glitch. And I got a video coming out later, probably an hour and a half from now, that's going to show you something interesting and new. And I wanted to take a little break from, well, it's funny because you can't take a break from Glitchgate because there's just too much going on. But, someone needed to be in the community to help the drivers and let them know that they were being screwed over. Now, here's the thing. again, the people using the glitch, I get it. They need to make money or whatever and stuff like that. But you got to understand that other people suffered because you guys were making all, whatever you were making. It's okay. It's not even okay to do it, but like, is it ethically right? Is it morally right? No. Is it lawful? Well, the law will determine that, but they're not going to go after just individuals or anything like that. They'll probably go after people who were gaining the system. Most notably, the scapegoat of the whole thing would be Glitchard. They'll
Pedro.
That's
and Pedro,
yeah,
because
right.
he spread so much misinformation.
Yeah, well, right, but you got to understand, it's a collective whole of, it's not just one driver. It's it's a whole lot of drivers. But the thing is that someone had to stand up, and it's the thing is too is I'm not the one who broke the blew the whistle on that. I mean, DoorDash is supposed to be the lead leaker, and then you had Always Cherry Pick channel and I do thank them. I mean, I thank them for at least that, but not DoorDash, because DoorDash doesn't get no thanks for that, because he could have leaked that to the people, and he didn't. And then Pedro, at the very least, is guilty of not sharing the information with the subscribers. That was just a deflection. I mean, are you kidding me? You're going to tell me that he's going to test the glitch, right? And he's not going to use it? No way.
He's full of it, man.
Even if he used it briefly, even if he just used it for 2 weeks, a month, whatever, he used it. Are you kidding me? It's too much temptation. It's just those guys never thought they would get caught. They never thought they would get caught. Whoever knew that was going to leak out like that? And whoever knew that Jeff Thomas Black was going to make a video called The Beginning of the End of DoorDash, and then we were going to watch all these other videos and stuff.
Which is
They're
true.
just trying to make him out to be a kook and everything. Hold on. I'll mute.
Right, Brian. I was going to say, I've been, even long before Jeff Thomas Black put out that video, for many months, even while I was driving for DoorDash and Uber Eats earlier on this year, late last year, earlier on this year, I was even saying something isn't right here. This is not sustainable long term. The way DoorDash is doing things, they're going to go under, and more than likely Uber Eats is going to, Uber/Uber Eats, Uber Technologies is going to buy them out, just like they did with Postmates. It's all going to go to Uber eventually, because I think Uber is running their company at least a little more ethically than DoorDash, because they don't have to, or they don't put us through all these hoops with acceptance rate matters. They don't ghost pause us. They don't force us to schedule, or, only dash now when it's busy. We can come and go as we wish on Uber. I can go turn on the Uber app right now while we're live on the air, and I can start. And I can decline all I want with no penalty. I can take what I want. Exactly, right? So, but let me read a few comments here, and then we're going to get back to reading the rest of this comment by DoorDash. So here's the thing: we have not me, no way. If your active time is higher than dash time and you have a high AR, you use the glitch. There's no way your active time can be higher than dash time, because dash time is you waiting for an order. I mean, your active time and your dash time could be close, but your active time is never going to be higher. But if your active time, is not that far off from your dash time, then you use the glitch. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show you folks exactly what Pedro said on his stream yesterday on how he made $700 and something this week. And he shared his active time and dash time, which you just proved to us, Pedro, proved to me that you used the glitch. Now, let me read a few more things here before you respond, Brian. Mr. Flex says, so if you are, I can't even read what you're saying, Flex. If your AR is low and your dash time is high, like just open app, then what? I don't even understand what Mr. Flex, honestly, you got to take your time to, write things out, spelling, grammar. I don't even understand what you're saying there, dude. Mr. Flex, you are just a rookie to understand that. Mr. Flex, I don't even know, dude. Not me, no way. It meant you accepted every order, but how do you have a small dash time, a high active time, but yet still have a high AR? It means you didn't take every order. You cherry picked, right? The thing is, it's impossible to have a higher active time than dash time, but they can be close within a few hours. That is possible. Damian Blaze says, Brian, I actually laughed yesterday finding out who Pedro's father is, where he's a Charles Manson child. That was funny. The memes that Brian put out there. So let me just read a few more things here. Okay, not necessary. Let me get back to the browser screen and read the rest of this, and I'm going to get your feedback, Brian. So Dad Dash says, now just need that watch time. Well, you'll probably get it, but it won't matter because you're not going to get enough views. You need 1,000 views. CPM, cost per mil, with AdSense is cost per 1,000 views. So you're going to make like, $8 to $10 per 1,000 views. And you're not going to get those views if you're not consistent with your message, Dad Dash. You're all over the place. You got to pick a side and stick to it. If you want to be a drama, drama king or queen, then go that route. If you want to be a wholesome father that's dashing to provide for his family, then go that route. But drama's going to get you further quicker, but it's not sustainable long term. He's not going to get it, though. Hoping the impending FBI investigation into the gig world helps with that. I have offered up my full catalog for review. We don't need your catalog, bro. You're irrelevant to this whole thing. What are your thoughts, Brian, before we continue?
Okay, so I want to mention something about Flex's, crew and whatever. Those guys, they're fine because that channel is not based on, hey, they're just a lounge. If they want to use the glitch and everything, go ahead. No one's going after them. The people that are going after people are the ones who pushed the top dasher and the acceptance rate stuff, doing a fraud scam. That's the issue. So any individuals who are using the glitch, you have nothing to worry about because no heat's coming down on you.
Right.
But let Flex and his crew do what they got to do. They're cool. They're all right. But here's the other thing. I'm not trying to shut DoorDash down, and neither is Jeff Thomas Black. They're going to shut their own self down because they say it in their own programs at the World Economic Forum, how that they openly admit that it's a scam. They say, we're just going to reel everyone in, sucker them in, take all the money from everyone, and then we're going to destroy the company. Remember Gordon Gekko? He said, I am not a destroyer of companies. Greed is good. Remember that? Well, that was based on Lorenzo, who owned Eastern Airlines. And when the people said, hey, we need better benefits, we want more money and this and that, he said, no, I'm not giving it to you. He burned his own company down to the ground, sold off all the planes. That's basically what they're going to do. They're going to leave everyone out hung to dry. But people they don't want to come out of the matrix. They don't want to believe that a company would do that. It's not about money. This is never about money. It's money. It's about money with the content creators and low-level people. The higher-ups, they want control. That's what they want. They don't care about. They have a printing machine. They can make all the money they want. The Federal Reserve runs all of that. Anyways, back to you.
Yeah, no, you're right. You can just turn on the printer at the Federal Reserve and, hey, let's just circulate more money and go further into debt. Yeah, and further screw the economy for us average, everyday, middle-class people, or even some people are lower class because of all this. And I feel for those people. I really do. Let's go back to the other screen here and go to the next. Now, here's what I want to show you guys. Pedro, and listen to this, Brian, and everyone. Pay close attention right now. Pedro shared this on his live stream yesterday, and I took notes. This is what Pedro made this past week on DoorDash. DoorDash pay, $311. Customer tip, $405.16. So, wow, your tips outweigh your DoorDash pay by almost $100. Total, $719.78. It's a little bit off between adding those two, but he said he had some orders that the place was closed and he got some extra money. But he said he made $719.78, right? So that's an average of $10 per delivery. That's a pretty high average there. That's a pretty high average. And then he said he did 72 deliveries, right? Pedro did 72 deliveries And then he said he did 72 deliveries for $719.78 in 23 active hours and 30 hours of dash time. This proves you're using the glitch, Pedro. Right here, pay close attention. Brian, before you jump in, let me just finish this real quick. This proves Pedro's using the glitch. This is what you guys are saying, okay? For most people, including myself here in the San Francisco Bay Area, in this market, in order for me to make $700 plus, I would have to put in at least 60 dash hours to do that. At least twice the dash time. And it would probably take me about 30 active hours to do it. Okay? Pedro did this in St. Louis, Missouri in 23 active hours and 30 hours total dash time. You see, the active time and dash time is only a difference of 7 hours. Now, for me, I would have to be 60 hours dash time and 30 hours active time, which is a 30-hour difference between dash time and active time. So for Pedro to only have a 7-hour difference, he's only sitting around for 7 hours to get $719, where the rest of us would be sitting around for 60 hours to do that. That's ridiculous. Each order was completed in 19 minutes on average. So basically, those 23 active hours, he was completing each of these orders in approximately 19 minutes between going to the restaurant and then going to the customer's place. Now, in my opinion, and wait till we get to the next screenshot. Let me share this and I'll get your thoughts so far, Brian. Now, in my opinion, the way St. Louis, Missouri is set up is a lot better than most other places because Pedro can go and take an order and then drop off an order, and then on the return, he can grab another order on the way back, where most other markets, you're not getting a return order on the way back, or you're either getting an order that's going to put you further out of your home area or hotspot, which is going to cost you more money in gas, etc. What are your thoughts about this, Brian, so far? And what are your thoughts in the chat?
Well, I mean, the thing is that what about like ghost pausing and stuff? Like when someone if doesn't like the orders they're coming in with, right? What does DoorDash do? They put you in a silent ghost pause and don't let you could be sitting in a zone, even in a red zone, and not get anything for an hour and a half. I tested this for almost a year and a half. I tested this with several other people too. And you might say, oh, well, that's just your market. No, because I tested it with other markets and I went out of state too to do it. But like, as far as the discrepancy on the active and dash time, I mean, is it possible to be in a good market where you're going to get something one after another, one after another? It is, but eventually the algorithm is going to send a bad order to you, right? It's not going to be all cherry orders, but the beauty, the glitch is that I can't prove what I'm going to say here, but I believe that the glitch, when you use the glitch at a certain point, whatever the trigger point is, let's say it's 85% or whatever, it triggers to send a good order, the top of the whatever's around. Like DoorDash doesn't create anything; they just take. So whatever's on the table, you know, if the glitch is used to give someone a good order, it will send it to the person using the glitch. Like like if there's a $30 order and there's all $5 ones, the $30 one will go to the person using the glitch. Now, you might say, well, what about other people using the glitch in the area? Well, I don't know what the tiebreaker is on that. I don't know how that's used, but I know that the dash time, in order to do those 19-minute runs, your dash time should be close to where your active time is. And when there's a discrepancy in that also would show that someone's probably using the glitch. Anyways, back to you, Eli.
Yeah. Well, Brian, so I'm seeing in the chat here, and the Jaded Driver is saying that, well, thank you for sharing your thoughts. The Jaded Driver is saying that he made $349 in only 11 active hours and 16 total hours. I mean, that's the same thing Pedro did. What market are you in? And now I'm asking you, are you in the large order program? He goes, I do mostly shop and pays. Okay. Still, that's kind of hard. I mean, what market are you in? And I mean, that doesn't happen in every market where your active time and your dash time are that close, and you're just luckily getting all these cherry orders, and then you say you have a 20% AR, you must be in a market that's not saturated, and all the gods must be with you, because that's not how it happens in most markets. And I'm not saying I don't believe you do, but that's a very, very rare experience. When you look at the masses, they've been dealing with what we've been dealing with. So let me go back to
Eli.
Yeah.
It's a gamification system. It's set up sort of like a casino, like at a roulette table. Like when the roulette wheel spins, you don't know, like you want 33 black, it comes up 5 red. You don't know what's going to happen. That's why they throw DoorDash programs the algorithm to send out, like Jello and hitting the wall, and whoever tries to pick it up catches it. That's the order you get, right? Oh, when you accept, but when you decline, it puts you in punishment mode too. But the glitch offsets all of that, because the glitch. But see, if there's a lot of people, like now that everyone knows about it, and let's say there's 500 drivers in an area that's using the glitch, right? Let's just say there was. What does that default back to? It defaults back to, okay, if everyone's using the glitch, then there's no glitch. If everyone's in the Ladrota program, no one's in the Ladrota program. If everyone's a top dasher, no one's a top dasher.
Right.
That system was designed for only a very small amount of people to benefit from it, not everyone.
Right. I think you muted yourself, Brian. Does that mean?
Yeah, no, I was going to say back to you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear. I think you muted yourself before you said back to you. Sorry about that, man. Okay. Let's go back to this screen here. Jada Driver, listen, I'm not saying I don't believe you, but it's hard to believe, or you are just, the gods are with you. The stars are aligning for you, bro. And that's possible, Let's go to the next screen here, and let me show you folks this. Before that was 383, 13 hours, and 19 hours dash time. Well, you're in a market that, the stars and the gods are aligned with you, man. Now, check out this next screen here. This is what's most important, because you can make all the money you want, but what is profitable based on where you live? Okay.
I want to say something, Eli. Let me say something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the challenge to all of the gig tubers. It's as simple as this. You want to prove the money you're making? Put multiple cameras in your car and put one with you, a body cam that's always on, that we could see it, that never is unending. Let's see every single order that comes through your phone from decline to accept. And for the entire shift, go out for 12 hours and show us that you can make $300, and then I'll believe you. And the community will believe you, and we'll give you all big apologies. Everyone will have a big apology party. But the problem is that's not going to happen, because I even gave $1,000 challenge to people. I said, if you could show me that, I'll give you $1,000. You think anyone ever took me up on that? Because it's not possible without using the glitch, with the exception of maybe like somewhere like Beverly Hills or something that you might be delivering to, like actors and actors that are tipping you $50 here and there. Okay, but is that reality for 99% of the drivers around America? No. Back to you, Eli.
Yeah, no, you make sense, Brian. And real quick, a couple of comments in the chat here. God, there's so much going on. I'm going to have to do a stream at some point and just go over the comments that were in this chat. There's just too much going on here. Hey, Torp. Me too. I've seen nobody give a crap about my family except for a few. Is that the new norm? I can handle that, you think? And this is spot on here. Not me, no way. And it's probably a good thing you're on a stock account. If not, you'd be getting attacked. So I don't blame you for coming in here on a stock account. He says, I believe I'm assuming it's a guy. If it's a woman, sorry. Also, if everyone is using the glitch, what it does is send all those crappy orders to people who are not using the glitch. And that's what happened to myself and Brian and everyone else that's been honest and didn't even know about this, right? So it makes it worse for us people that aren't using it. Yeah. Yeah.
Eli, that's absolutely true. Like, like right now, I'm sitting at about 16% on the DoorDash app, and it's terrible. It's been terrible for the past 3 or 4 weeks because since I started my real job, right, I go out like I'm working. I'm on 4 hours of sleep pretty much every day because I'm just working my ass off. But plus doing the channel, it's hard doing 2 channels. But the thing is that when I've gone out, I mean, I've had to decline so many terrible orders, and then once in a while something good will come in. But it's like I'm lucky to barely make hours, barely to make like $50 in like 5 hours in my mind. It's and it used to be double that. It used to be 125, but the mornings and the afternoon, the lines are terrible, and it sucks. It's not all about the glitch because the glitch got found out about. But as we go on, as more and more people use it, it's just going to make it worse. It's going to make it worse, right. And then that'll be it. So whether DoorDash ever gets the glitch or not, it won't matter because the amount of people are going to offset that. So it'll be terrible for everyone anyways. It's just a matter of time. You know what I mean? Anyways, back to you.
Thank you, Brian. No, not me, no way says Pedro has an AR of 70 plus, yet his dash versus active time is that of a cherry picker. You're right. And that just proves he's using the glitch. I mean, Pedro, you're using the glitch and nothing else makes sense. With the numbers you're putting out in your dash versus active time, you cannot have a high AR over 70% and have an active dash time so close together. Like it just doesn't make sense. To get the AR high the right way, your dash versus active time would be more widespread. It'd be like 60 dash time versus 30 active hours instead of 30 dash time and 23 active hours. I mean, come on, Pedro, you know it, man. Just dude, just come clean and get this whole thing over with, man. But anyway, let's continue here. I want to read this. Let me show you guys this. Brian, this is going to hit home. Everyone, this is going to hit home. Now, let's, on Pedro's, order, or Pedro's DoorDash week, guessing average delivery is 4 miles. Let's say the average delivery he took was 4 miles, because you're not going to go 7, 10, 15 miles when you're glitching, right? And let's say that's for he had 72 orders, I think it was, at an average of 4 miles per order. And that's high. Some were probably lower. So for total mileage of 288 miles, approximately 1 tank of gas, let's say, because he has a gas-powered car. Let's assume he has a 15-gallon tank at $3.20 per gallon in St. Louis, which St. Louis has some of the cheapest gas in the country, right? The total gas cost for Pedro is $48 per tank of gas at $3.20 per gallon. That same car would cost $30 more, $78 to fill up here where I live in the San Francisco Bay Area at $5.20 per gallon. So Pedro, your gas is $2 per gallon cheaper than it is for me here. So your expenses are going to be less. Now, let's go one thing further, Brian, because you live in an expensive area like I do. In St. Louis, the average cost of rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in the St. Louis area is $900. The average cost of rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in the San Francisco Bay Area is $3,000. And that's on the very low end. So let's figure this out here. Okay. Pedro's cost of living in St. Louis, $2 per gallon less for gas, which is what? About, he's paying 40% less for gas than I am, right? Okay. And then when you look at rent is 3 times greater here, right? So, you're looking at it's 1/3 the cost to live in St. Louis than it is to live where I live or where you live, Brian, or people in New York, right? And other areas have a much higher cost of living. So I figured out, on average, for every $1 that Pedro DoorDash Santiago spends in St. Louis, Missouri, I'm spending about $1.50 to $1.60 for the same stuff. So it costs me $1.50 to $1.60 for everything here in the Bay Area where I live compared to Pedro getting the same for $1. Your cost of living is the cheapest in the country, and that's why you can afford to live a life as a king, and, being a DoorDasher. And that's why, and on top of that, I believe your uncle's a mechanic where you get, mechanic work very cheap or free, right? So when you have everything set up as easy as he does and lives in one of the most affordable areas in the country, what do you expect? Brian, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that, Brian? He's not taking into consideration that most of us have way more expenses regarding the same things he does. He's never mentioning that. He's not taking this into consideration.
Well, I don't think he cares because he's all set. I mean, the purpose of doing the gig tube and everything is to become a successful entrepreneur or whatever, making money. Most of these gig tubers, with the exception of Pedro, I will say this, that he in the past, he has gone out and he has worked lots of times, but I mean, was he using the glitch 2 years ago, a year and a half ago? I mean, why would you flip-flop on a channel? Why would you say one thing? He says, oh, it's my prerogative to just change up when I want. No, because he lost subscribers during that whole thing. People that came to my channel and said, I got away from Peter. I'm not watching him anymore because he's a fluffernutter. He changed. And why did he change? Because he learned about the glitch. Anyone who had that knowledge to use the glitch, unless you're an ethical, moral man and you love God and it's wrong, you're going to use it. You're going to use it to your advantage. There's no question about it. Even if it was only used for a very short time, or only if he's doing it intermittently. He may not use it 4 days out of the week, but one of the days he does. Who knows? We don't know. But we know he uses it. We know. I mean, there's so many content creators that just want to sit behind microphones and look at has there been any content from any of these content creators really
None.
telling us how to do tips and tricks? They all stopped doing it. Why? Because there's nothing to learn from it anymore. The cat's
no credibility.
out of the bag.
There's no credibility. There's no credibility anymore.
Yeah, the horse has left the stable, the train's left the station, and it ain't never coming back. There's going to be a whole new way of doing things. And you know who set that precedent? Was Thomas Schubeck. You want to see a real gig worker and how you're supposed to make money and everything? Go to his channel, Thomas Schubeck Industries, because he's going to be the standard for going forward. See, once people can't make money from this, they're going to jump ship and they're going to and that's fine. Goodbye. That'll leave more room for us for the rest of the crumbs that are left around. But I mean, I'm sure there'll be other glitches made and different back end ways to get around it, because that's how corrupt DoorDash is. The head of the snake is DoorDash. It's not these channels. They just got caught up in the scheme of things and thought they'd ride the wave. It's like the 900 numbers from 1980s and 90s that people got involved with Don Lapre and those type of things. And now it's coming to its end because there's no purpose for it anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah, there'll be people who still use it, but once they realize that they can't make money with it anymore, they won't even be in the gig economy. They'll leave the gig economy. They'll start their own business or do whatever, or you'll see these companies just get dismantled. And by the way, I don't want to see anyone lose their job. I don't want to see a company put down. I want them to be fair to people. Just change your ways. And if we could get $10 base pays again and get 20% mandatory tips, which I always fight for. The Attorney General in Massachusetts, I'm trying to fight for that so we can change it in our state. 20% mandatory minimum tips. But then you always have these companies that lobby and try to stop. That's basically bribes and pay off the politicians so they can't pass the laws on it. This is what happened in Colorado. And in Minnesota, I'm not up to date on Minnesota, but something happened there. There's so many things on the books. There's a massive lawsuit against DoorDash right now for predatory practices. And you guys, you need to wake up and see what's really going on. And it's sad because most of these gig tubers are just caught up in their own world and want to do their own thing. And I get it, but can't you just be honest with the people? Can't you just tell them honestly what
Yep.
how to do things instead of being scamming on them. I mean, anyways, back to you, Eli.
Yeah, Brian. Real quick before, and we're almost done. We have a few more things to talk about. We're at about the 1 hour mark. We're probably going to end at about the hour 15, hour 20 mark. So we're on track. That's good. But let me read what Damian Blaze put in the chat, because we were talking about this on the phone last night and earlier today. He says exactly, he's just doing what Sin City Deliveries did with cutting the glitch on certain days and taking a hit with bad orders on other days by not having the glitch on at times. Well, no, this is exactly, I get what you're saying there, but this is what Pedro and other people were doing. Okay. What they would do is probably take half of one day, or a few hours to glitch up to 100%. Then they would basically take a bunch of cherry orders while declining the crap orders. And next thing you know, they get down to, 75, 74, 73%. And then they cut into the video and they say, oh, my AR right now is a 73%. And these are the types of orders I've been getting today. But he's not telling people that he's glitching up to 100% and then working it from 100% down to 73%. And basically you can decline 23 orders before you're down to 77%, or 27 orders to get down to 73%. Is that right? Did I do the math right? Yeah, you can decline up to 27 orders, and I'll tell you, you're going to get a bunch of great orders. When you're offered 27 orders, at least 5, 6, or 7 of them are going to be top notch, maybe more. And
Eli,
yeah,
Eli.
Yes.
Pedro himself said in one of his even recent videos from about 4 or 5 days ago, he said, does acceptance rate matter? Yes, it does. He said acceptance rate matters in 2023. We know that, and we know that going back to the videos that he made. There are videos where he said that you should take Top Dasher, but he did give options. He did say, well, these are options for you. But there's other ones where he didn't say it in some videos. Some videos he would and some he wouldn't. So you just have to go back and watch the videos. But the point of it is, we shouldn't even really be focusing solely on Pedro, because he's not the only person out here. He's not the only gig tuber. Yeah, he's got 22 million views and whatever. Your driver Mike is right there with him. But people, I don't even know why they watch Your Driver Mike. At least, Pedro is entertaining. I'll give him that. He can entertain you and make you laugh a little bit and stuff. So, but Your Driver Mike is boring as hell. Then you have Bentley Coop, who has been fully exposed. But see, these cult members of their crew, even if there was a house burning down, they would, instead of running out of the house, they'd jump into the fire with him. No matter what, even if he was wrong, right, left, right, up, down, any way, they'll follow him to the ends of the earth. They say, oh, Pedro, we love you. I love you. It's like, come on. I mean, don't you see what's going on here, folks? Like, I don't know. Anyways, back to you, Eli.
Yeah, real quick. Thank you, Brian. Real quick, respectfully to Jeff and everyone else, I don't have a whole lot of time myself either, and I haven't spent much time with my lady. I need to spend time with my lady. It's important to me and to her. So I'm not going to be bringing anyone else on, Jeff or anyone else. Jeff, we can do something tomorrow on your channel, my channel. We can do something pre-recorded, live, however you want to do it. If I were to bring you on right now, this would go on for a while, and I wouldn't want to rush you. I want to hear what you have to say, even though I pretty much know I want to give you the floor when we all have more time. But anyway, okay, so I want to talk about a few more things here before we go off the air. I want to talk about the behavior of these men in this community. Above all, if we forget about DoorDash, the glitch, #glitchgate, if we forget about everything and just look at the men and the way they're behaving in general, it's preposterous. I want to just share my thoughts and hear your thoughts, Brian, and you folks can tell me in the chat, okay? We live in a world, in a modern... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
So we live in a modern world of feminism and radical feminism. I'm all for women having equal rights. I believe as long as, women are doing things the same ways that men have always done, women should have equal rights as long as, they qualify in the same ways that men have always qualified for jobs, right? No problem with that, right? I think what women being liberated has done to a lot of men, especially these millennials and post-millennials that, are brand new to this, I believe it has emasculated them, but they've emasculated themselves. A lot of these guys are behaving like 2-year-old little girls. They're coming out here on YouTube and, they're just, they're creating memes. They're attacking people. They're using ad hominem attacks. You guys know what ad hominem attacks are. They're gaslighting people. And these guys like Pedro and Hannibal and Dashing Trader and even you, Dad Dash, you guys are coming at us and saying that we're using ad hominem attacks and gaslighting. You guys are projecting. It's a projection of what you guys are doing. You guys are using ad hominem attacks and gaslighting, right? And you're trying to flip it on us. Your behavior, all you guys, Dad Dash, Pedro, Dashing Trader, Hannibal, and these guys are all, I believe even Dad Dash is a millennial. I could be wrong. I think Dad Dash is a millennial, but if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. You guys are the sorriest excuses for men that I've ever seen. And I say that with love. Real men don't behave that way. Brian, go ahead. There's a lot more for me to say, but go ahead. That's what this all boils down to.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that they're pissed off because they got found out and now they don't know what to do. It's, if they're probably, these guys are probably all using the glitch in their personal life, even if they're not pushing Top Dasher and stuff, which is, I guess, fine, right?
Yeah.
But the one, if we didn't even have Richard coming out and admitting, I even though I can't stand him, but I'm just so glad that he came out. So I do commend him for being brave to admit that what he did. I just wish other channels would come out and say it too, because there wouldn't be, if that was the case, we could just move on from everything. And, when people get attacked and everything like that, like, for instance, I probably wouldn't have gone. I mean, do you think that I'm the sole guy? Like, you don't think the information's out there that other agencies are looking at that, even just watching? Everything is watched. But
right.
I wouldn't have gone to the authorities and all of that stuff if people didn't do what they did to you and attack other people, because the focus really isn't per se on them, although yes, we got screwed over because we followed these guys and we listened to what they had to say, and they're influencers. They influence people. So it's like, but it's not fair to the people who, men and women of America, who are just trying to make a living and go out and do the right thing. I mean, it's okay for them to make their hundreds of dollars, but we can't make it too. How come you didn't share the glitch with us? Although I don't want the glitch. I want things to be fixed within the system. But you got to understand, It's a crash and burn system. It's a crash and burn that's going off the it's like a crazy train going off the rails. And eventually that train is going to be destroyed. Anyways, go back to you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. On Smash Media is saying something we mentioned on the first live we did last week with the panel when Dad Dash was supposedly on the good side of things, which, we all know he's been playing this game now, right? He's been exposed. But on Smash Media says Pedro is the snake's head, Brian. Yeah, I've been saying that. We've been saying that for weeks now. He even forced Sin City Deliveries to take the blame for using the glitch. Right. That's what I was saying, and Brian's been saying that too. Why would Pedro bring Richard onto his show a couple weeks ago and allow Richard to promote the video he put out the next day, which says I cheated in the thumbnail, and then he hasn't put out anything since that point. They're colluding together, or there's something there. Pedro has something on him, or there's some agreement made, or there's some cult going on, like you guys said, but it doesn't make sense. But yeah, so Pedro basically is the head of the snake. I've been saying that all along, and I stick by that. Pedro gives motivational speeches and tells lies to his subs and you followers. Yeah, he's like the new Don Lepre. Don LaPree used to come on, Brian, and say, I made thousands and thousands of dollars placing tiny classified ads out of my 1-bedroom apartment. He was the emphasizer. And I kind of learned how to speak from Don LaPree, emphasizing words, but I do it, legitimately. Don LaPree was a phony, was a fraud, right? So, on Smash Media, you're absolutely right. He is the head of the snake. And that's why, we keep talking about it, because we want to raise awareness to as many people on YouTube as possible that are going to be driving for DoorDash or are currently driving for DoorDash, that, hey, the guy that you see on the stage, Pedro, DoorDash Santiago, like Jeff Thomas Black said, he's a bot. He might as well be a bot, right? He is a puppet. He's the puppet master. He's pulling all the strings, right? And you guys just don't see that. Wake up and smell the coffee and stop wasting your time, because it's going to cost you money as well. What are your thoughts, Brian, before we get to the final thing I want to talk about here, and that's going to be Dad Dash. But before we get to Dad Dash, what are your thoughts about this?
Now that everything's been exposed and everything, people are going to be very leery of watching any channels that were doing the things they were doing for the longest time, because it's not going to apply anymore, because people are going to demand like proof and say, okay, well, if you show us you're going to go out, work for 5 hours. Okay, let me see your phone, focused on the phone that's you're making money on. And we want to see every order that comes through, or else we ain't going to believe you. It's just as simple as that. But even if that happened, right, they can go home and glitch up the night before they go out. But what's their acceptance rate at when they, in other words, if you declined a whole bunch and say at the end of the day you were at 55% or something, right? And now you go home the next day, you do a live stream and, I'm up to 84%. Well, you don't get to 84% unless you take a whole lot of deliveries between the 55 and the 80, you know what I mean? And so that
a lot
would
of crappy ones in between.
Right. And that also, like, if you're going to just do 1 or 2 days here and there, it gives you a whole week to glitch up and make sure your acceptance rate's up, right? So then you might do another video. Like, he used to do videos every day, these channels, right? But now that everyone's backed off from doing ride-alongs. Why? I want to see some ride-alongs. Let's see them. You know what I mean? Show us. Because the only ones doing it right is Torp and Thomas Schubeck right now. Maybe a few others. I don't know.
Jeff Thomas Black says, my live is loading now. I'll go on when Eli's done. Please join me. Yeah, we'll come over there. Everyone, go to Jeff Thomas Black. Go to Jeff Thomas Black's channel after the show is done. And Jeff, I'll reach out to you at some point tomorrow, and we need to do a show together, whether it's on your channel or mine. We'll figure that out. But let's do this, Brian.
I want to say something, Eli.
Go ahead.
Eli, want to say something. So tonight's video with Pedro over at Pedro and Hannibal's channel, that's just an attack video on my credibility and to try to discredit me and everything else and all this stuff. And it's all a bunch of hogwash. You know what I mean? Like, of course I'm going to be pissed off and I'm going to say things, but there was things I said that I meant and I stick by them. And the thing is that that's what it takes for a courageous man to go forward and do the right thing by the people that were affected and hurt. Okay. Now, I'm not the law and I don't make the laws. So whatever the law is going to do in the future, they're going to do. And maybe they won't do anything. Maybe everyone's, everything's wonderful. But at the very least, what we've learned here is that we cannot no longer trust any gig tubers who are not going to show full transparency. Isn't that what we wanted through the gig apps from DoorDash? It's bad enough we can't get it from them, but if we can't get it from the content creators, then why watch them? You know what I mean? Why? And I've been doing my channel for free this whole time. One of the main reasons is because I needed to hurt and suffer like everyone else did, like almost purposely, to understand what it was like for them to what they went through. So, thank God I got another job, because I would be homeless right now, and there's a lot of people that became homeless. One of my subscribers, shout out to Canna Club Chicago. He was living in his car for real, like not because he wanted to. Some people do it as an adventure, but he was homeless. And hopefully he got a place to live and everything like that. But like, people are seeing through all this smoke screen and deception. They know now. and the word's out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is worldwide now. Australia is picking this up. You'll see. Have a video coming out later, but it's worldwide now. They know the scam. You know what I mean? Anyways, back to you.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, and I appreciate your thoughts. I agree with you. The final thing I want to talk about is Dad Dash, who's Steve, and this is exactly what a lot of these creators are doing.
There's one more thing. There's one more thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to say, like, so in some of these live streams that these channels are doing, they're trying to like discredit people and saying, oh, they're mentally ill and they're manic and all of that stuff. And that's furthest from the truth. They're not doctors and they can't make evaluations. They're doing it that's how they discredit people. So they make them look to be mental defectives. So that like, oh, this guy's a nutcase, conspiracy theory and all that. It's people aren't going for that. People are going for where the truth is. All right.
Oh, thank you, Brian. I want to talk a little bit about Steve Dash Dad, or Dad Dash. Sorry, Dad Dash. I keep screwing that up. Anyway, no big deal. And yes, his behavior, it's erratic. I'm not saying this to attack the guy. Again, I don't hate anyone. I'm not here to hurt anyone. I want everyone to be successful, including him and Pedro and all these people. But these folks need to learn to do things the right way, the ethical way, the moral way, and they need to act their age. First of all, like I said, the biggest problem with these guys is they're not acting their age. They're not acting like men. And if they're going to come out here, like I've said before, if they're going to come out here and basically say, this is my YouTube persona, well, if this is your YouTube persona and the way you want to represent yourself on YouTube, that's all we know. We're going to assume that's who you are in real life. And that's how we're going to treat you, right? But to be honest with you, even if these guys come out and say this is our YouTube persona, I don't believe it. These guys, this is who they really are. They're actually showing us their true colors right now because they've been exposed on things that they could have owned up to, and this would have ended 2 weeks ago, right? And now Dad Dash, he's going around. He came on my show last week. I talked about this on my stream a couple nights ago when he flipped on us, I guess, all of a sudden. He's going around Mr. Flex and always cherry picking and other channels and trash talking myself and Jeff Thomas Black and Brian when initially he was supporting us, right? It's like he's flip-flopping to whatever is getting him attention at that current moment. He's coming out and saying that I have autism. Okay. I don't have autism. If I did have autism, I wouldn't have a problem admitting it. And if I had autism, you would see me flipping out a lot more. I've been cool and calm and collected this whole entire time. And I'm going to keep my cool because the more I keep my cool and the more you guys get triggered because we're speaking the truth and keeping our cool at the same time, that's going to show your true colors, right? Another thing with Dad Dash, I do have a picture of Boston behind me. Yep. I put that picture of Boston behind me on my green screen for Brian. Yeah. Nice. Nice, Vartan. Thank you so much for that. Welcome to the show. And Ahmad and everyone else, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to do a separate video at some point to respond to all the comments here because there's just so much going on. But then another thing, Brian put out a video earlier, and I'm only watching Brian's videos. I'm not going to go through 3 hours of a drama shit show on Flex's channel or on Always Cherry Picking's channel. These guys, all these drama shit show channels are a waste of time with immature, insecure men that need to grow the fuck up, in my opinion. That's the truth of the matter, right? So then Dad Dash is saying, he's saying earlier today that I was running $1 million company before all this. So who gives a shit who you're running or what you were running? Who cares how much money the business was making, etc., right? All you're doing is seeking validation. Like I mentioned in my earlier Walking with Purpose stream, you're seeking validation in the ways that women seek validation. Because it is normal for women to seek validation, but it is not a masculine characteristic to seek validation. You are trying to prove to people how good you are, Steve. You're trying to prove to people how good you are. And you're looking like a fool, bro. And I'll tell you this, Steve, at this point right now, and I'm not saying I've disrespected women before this. I respect anyone, man or woman, that deserves respect, right? But at this point right now, I respect every single woman on the planet more than I respect you and all these other fools, all these other guys, because you guys are a pathetic excuse for a man. That's the truth of the matter. The things you guys are saying, the ad hominem attacks, the gaslighting that you guys are doing and not even realizing, then flipping it and saying that we're doing that, it's because you have nothing to come back with. You're caught with your pants down. And instead of going to cry and running off to mommy and crying that they caught me, you're coming out here and trying to blow a smoke screen here to cover up the truth. What are your thoughts, Brian? I mean, it's ridiculous. The behavior of these men is absolutely asinine. Asinine.
Well, they just trying to attack everyone, and it's not going to work, because the real people that know what's going on and believe in what's happened are not going to go along with the bullshit anymore. So let them make all the videos they want. It's just sad, because when I did my channel, I started it, I was hoping that it would catch fire, where people would catch on and say, you know what, you're right, let's go after the companies, let's make change, let's bring back the $10 base pays, let's get the 20% mandatory tips, let's get benefits for drivers and all kinds of stuff, right? And yet these people are just like, it's every man for himself, who gives a shit about anyone, all this stuff. And it's like, do you not care about people? Why? These people claim to care about their own families, but they turn their back on the driving community, and they brag about their channels and how much money I made and this and that. No one gives a shit about that. Be a real human being. Start standing up for humanity and what counts. Because the bigger picture here, and some of you don't believe in God, but God is real, and He's watching over this whole thing, folks. And in the end, He's separating the wheat from the tares. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of history, folks. You want to be on the righteous side. And you can change. You can ask God to repent and say, Jesus, I'm sorry that I sinned against you. I forgive me. And if you guys did that, the community would forgive you. I forgive you right readily. I don't hate anyone or anything, but people are just lost. I mean, Jesus said this in the Bible. It said, the God of this world blinds those who falsely believe, lest the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ shines upon them. And how true that really is. I'm not perfect. None of you are. Not Eli's not perfect, but we need to try to strive for the good things, because your life is here and gone the next. And Jesus says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And someday you're going to stand in front of him and he's going to say, why didn't you help the people? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? You want to say, hey, I corrected it. I did the right things. I moved forward and did the right things for, especially for the community, standing up for the community, and this is just a driving community. This should apply through life, right. Life lessons, not just drivers. Anyways, back to you, Eli.
Yeah, we're going to start wrapping this up, Brian. Thank you for that. No, I agree with you, man. I'll tell you this. I'm going to share this thought here and give you a chance to share your final thoughts. And then I'll have you go off the StreamYard and shut down the show with some other things I'm going to mention. What this all boils down to me is sadness for the men in this world nowadays. Not all men, but many of them that are just not behaving like men. Like, this behavior is just not masculine. And this is why women are upset. Women are upset because guys are behaving in this way. I don't understand. Pedro has a girlfriend, and he's put her name out there. It's Madison, right? And I don't understand how Madison puts up with the BS that he, puts out there and what he's dealing with. I mean, maybe the money's good. See, the thing is, some women, and people can say the same thing about my lady, but my lady and I, she's got her money, I got mine. And listen, we're good. But some women will stick with a guy because they have money and maybe they don't have another choice, or maybe they don't want to start over, right? But I just can't understand how some of these guys are able to have a personal life when they behave this way. because there's not a woman on the planet that's going to deal with a guy that does what Pedro does. At least a woman that has morals, values, and ethics, right? And that's what really just gets to me the most. It's the behavior. It's at the end of the day, these guys are not behaving, like real grown, mature men. And granted, yes, when you do drama and you do stupid shit, you get a lot more attention on YouTube, but that is short-lived. It's not going to last for a while. It gets boring, gets old. Once you make a fool out of yourself, it's just repeating the same thing that we already know. So how much further are you going to take this foolishness, Pedro and Hannibal? And, monetize it while you can. I'm sure you're getting some money from my haters and other people, but eventually they're going to stop paying you for this. Eventually it's going to burn itself out. What are you going to do then? Try to fix your tarnished name? It's going to be too late. Now, Brian, what are your final thoughts, brother? And then I'm going to shut this down in a few minutes here. I'll get you off the panel after you're done with your final thoughts.
Well, my final thoughts is that I made a video called, why can't we just get along? Why can't we all just get along, right? And that refers to, trying to do the best you can as a person in life, trying to make someone's life happy, be, comforting, being a good family person, all that. And it should reflect on the community too. And you should always be trying to help people whenever you can. And to hold like information back and for your own benefit and stuff is not a good thing, because it puts you in a place of isolation and almost like living a double life or something, because at the end of the day, you have to go home to your family and you have to say, oh, honey, I'm home, especially if you're doing, gig work full time, because there's a lot of full time people now doing it, but and it's a revolving door because how bad the economy is. And I just want to say that the economy is going to get way worse than any of you ever imagined in your life, way worse than any market crash that you've ever seen in the past. I can't tell you the exact month or year, but if I had to guess, it'd be within the next 3 years. And the whole face of America is going to look different than it is now. I mean, we're talking about massive depression and everything due to the economy failing. And people are not going to be able to afford to use DoorDash or anything else. So what are they going to do then? They're going to have to go find other jobs. I know that it's part-time money for some, but even the part-time money is not going to be there in the future. You think, oh, everything's just going to be wonderful, it's going to continue. It's not. Look up channels like Peter Schiff, who's an economist, and find out what's really going on in the world. I mean, some mainstream media won't cover stuff and they won't tell you the right things, but you need to branch out and find out what's going on, because there's a big financial hurt coming for everyone, including the gig community. And so get all the money you can right now, because you're going to need it to save up for the future, because that technocracy is being brought in. So basically, just do the right things. Just try to help people and stop lying to them. Change your tune, Back to you, Eli. And thank you for everyone listening to the stream and, supporting the drivers, because it's all about making sure that drivers get a better life. Go ahead, Eli.
Absolutely, Brian. Before I have you step off the panel, then I'm going to wrap this up for 5 minutes by myself. I really want to thank you for being here today, taking the time out of your busy day. I know you've lost a lot of sleep, so have I. Folks, Brian and I and the people over here, we really do care about your best interest. We are losing sleep over this, but this is our passion. When you love what you do and you truly believe in what you're doing is right for the best overall interest of everyone, you will lose sleep for it. I mean, your body won't allow you to sleep until you get the work done, because you care about the people that much. And that's it. That's what this all boils down to. What we're seeing out here on YouTube with these guys is exactly what, what's his name was saying there. Ahmad says, YouTube has become the hive of scammers and grifters. Right. That's what these guys are. These guys are scammers and grifters. And then they're calling us scammers and grifters and mentally unstable and all this, right? The ad hominem attacks from them are they're trying to flip it on us to cover up their own shit, right? And listen, we're not falling for it, and more people that are now coming out to YouTube are not falling for these types of content creators. Because if you think that Pedro, DoorDash, Santiago, Hannibal is Hungry, Dashing Trader, Richard, aka Glitcher, Sin City Deliveries, if you think these guys are the only ones that are grifters and scammers, you got half of YouTube is like that. And we're just trying to shed some light that you need to be careful with who you follow and who you support, and whose advice you take at gospel and whose you don't, right? You got to be real careful about that. And that's why we're doing what we're doing here. But Brian, I really want to thank you for being here. We're at an hour and a half, the maximum limit. I want to value and respect your time. Unless you have anything else you want to say, thank you so much for being here, Brian. Thank you, man.
I just want to say I think it was an excellent interview. I was able to think about things that we needed to really get out there, and I just ask you all just to try to reflect on what's really important to you, your family, and the community. Start caring about the community more. I mean, care about people, because Jesus said we to love one another, right? Love yourself, love others as you love yourself, right? It's so important, because life is but a vapor. It goes away quick, and then you don't want to be on the wrong side of history. I'm telling you, folks. But I thank you, Eli. I thank all the people that are on his channel, and the subscribers and people who have come over to my DoorDash Sucks channel, and also Gig Apps Exposed. Just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to have an interview with you, Eli. And I'll catch you guys later, I guess.
Anytime, Brian, and we got to do it on your channel at some point. You wanted to get it going. You let me know when you're ready, and we'll make it happen. Thank you, Brian. Have a good one. All right, Brian, I'm going to put you backstage.
You got it.
Take care, man.
Thanks.
All right, bye. All right, that was Brian from the Gig Apps Exposed and DoorDash Sucks channels. Let's go back to full screen and start wrapping this up. Yes, this is Boston here. You're not going to hear me as well when I'm away from my microphone, but there we are. Beautiful Boston. I'm going to fall in the water. Ooh. It's a green screen, you moron. Yeah, I know. I put it together. I've spent lots of time over the years, investing into myself so I can, help you folks and invest in you, and, yeah, I mean, I really love what I do out here, folks. I really love helping people. So that's why I continue investing in myself, because if you don't invest in yourself, then you're not going to be able to invest in other people. Let me look at a few comments here before we go off the air. Hey, DoorDash Danny, how are you doing? Damian Blaze, Brian and Eli, Sherlock Holmes and Watson, you guys are very good and deserve your rest. Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to be spending some time with my lady and getting to bed early tonight. Hot Facts with Robert Reese. You just made a channel on 8/31/2023. No videos. No anything. Troll. Hey, Robert. How you doing? Robert, I would love to collaborate with you at some point. If you want to ever do an interview or a stream together on my channel, your channel, or both, you let me know. Email me, Coach Eli at coacheli@eliasmelas.com. DoorDash Danny says, I've been away for a few days, but I thought on Friday the live stream was the last time we mentioned the glitch. Did I miss something in between? Yeah, well, things changed. People flipped like, Dad Dash. He went rogue and, went from being a positive guy on the same page as us to flipping over to the dark side with Pedro and trash talking us and basically just doing whatever it takes to grow his channel and get it fully monetized. So, it's just the stupidity keeps happening, and we just keep mentioning it so people can see what's really going on and not support people that don't deserve the support. DoorDash Danny at Hot Facts with Robert Reese. What has that got to do with anything? Well, it does. Typically, newer channels that have no content that say dumb things are trolling. That's just the way it goes. We're experienced content creators. And we know that. No disrespect, DoorDash, Danny. Damian Blaze says, I knew about the glitch over the summer on a lot of people talking about it while on vacation. That's good to know, man. Okay. All right. There's just a lot going on here. I'll have to go back and scroll through the chat on the replay. Another thing I didn't mention, I'll mention this real quick. A lot of people have been saying, oh, Eli, I mentioned this earlier on my walk. I'll mention it here. You only have 554 deliveries. You only did it for less than 4 months. You should not be talking about this. You don't have enough deliveries to be talking about this. No, I have plenty of deliveries. I went through everything that I mentioned, and I've been through everything that a lot of the people have mentioned. So, if you want to try to discredit someone that did 554 deliveries and you don't think that's enough to understand the system, then you're out of your mind. What does it take? 5,000 deliveries before you figure this out? If you can't figure out the games that DoorDash is playing with acceptance rates, scheduling, all these fancy programs, if you can't figure out that game within your first 1 to 200 deliveries, then I think you have some issues beyond what I can help you with. I'm tired of the fighting. I'm tired of the BS, the drama. That's not the point of what we're doing over here. But that's just a part of the YouTube territory. It happens whenever you're fighting for something and you believe in the people and you're trying to help the masses. There's always going to be 2, 3, or 4 people that have been playing the masses for their own gain and benefit that are going to attack you to try to protect what they've been doing to make money. And so, unfortunately, this is what has to be done. This is part of fighting the fight for the people, is making you folks aware of creators, especially out here on YouTube, that are misinforming you and misleading you, right? So, hopefully this is the last time we have to do it. If something new transpires, we'll talk about it. But if not, we need to move forward to the next stage. And the next stage of this whole thing is to, start to work with other people to lobby for better rights for gig workers and also possibly create a union for gig workers. I'm still waiting to hear back from Gig Workers of America. I emailed them earlier this past week. Haven't heard back from them. Hopefully I hear back from them this week. If I don't hear back from them, I'll email them one more time. And if they don't get back to me, then I know my trolls and haters sent them all my hateful videos and they just don't want to work with me. Hey, that can happen. Maybe they did that. But with or without Gig Workers of America, we're on the same page. We'll support them quietly or, without them working with us. But I would rather join forces with them and join forces with as many other groups out there that want to fight for the rights of gig workers, because this is only going to get worse in the future if we don't fight it. More and more companies will come out like DoorDash and do similar things like DoorDash to basically pay you peanuts while they make their billions. Damian Blaze, Eli, you might want to block Mr. Flex out of your live and channel. He brings the drama and noise to cause things on your channel. I may end up doing that, dude. You're probably right. I'll think about that after the show and probably do it after the show. Thank you for that. You're right, though, Damian Blaze. DoorDash Rick, my personal opinion is if everyone could learn how to dash and 500 deliveries, alas, there would be no YouTube channels for info. Well, I don't know what you mean by that. If everyone could learn how to dash and I guess do 500 deliveries, there will be no YouTube channels for info. Well, I guess what you're saying is there would be no point for these channels. If people could figure it out on their own. And I can understand that. And to be honest with you, the channels like Pedro's and all the fluffernutter content of people doing I agree. Someone said earlier, I'm tired of ride-along videos and all that stuff. It's boring. You're right. It is boring. I'm bored of it. I don't like ride-alongs, right? Now, I watch the ones that Thomas does and other people I care for do because I support them. And they're trying to prove a point right now that they're legit by going live and showing you what they do as they go along throughout the day. But I'll tell you this, ride-along videos of you showing the type of orders you're getting and what you're making and what your AR is, it's a bunch of fluffernutter content that's not going to help people, inspire them, and basically teach them how to be a profitable DoorDash driver or Uber Eats driver, right? So I don't think these channels were ever beneficial in the first place. The thing to do is to talk about it on live stream, share videos about, car repairs and proper insurance for food delivery and stuff like that. But people aren't doing that. They're doing the other things because they're doing the fluffer stuff that gets them the quicker views and makes them the ad revenue. But look what's happened. It's not sustainable long term. Pedro's out of the YouTube partner program and probably will never get back in. And now they're saying they're going to monetize the Pedro and Hannibal channel. Well, that's going to have to go on Hannibal's account because your AdSense account's been blacklisted, Pedro. Well, I didn't do 100 deliveries per week, bro, because I wasn't going to take trash. I sat around because a lot of trash orders came around my area. And I sat around for hours, not even taking an order. So I did 500 deliveries, 500 and I have it right here. Hang on a second. Give me a second. $554 deliveries. Right there. The green screen is messing up with it. And I did that in just under 4 months because I extremely cherry picked because I was not going to take orders that were not profitable and drag my car into the ground. So yeah, most people can probably do 500 orders in 5 weeks. But I couldn't do 100 orders per week based on how my market was. And now I know why. Some people were probably using the glitch. Too many crappy orders. Holy smokes, Hannibal got the boot on AdSense also? Really? When did that happen, Hot Facts with Robert Reese? Did that happen recently? Let me know before we go off the air. I did not know that. Was Hannibal reusing a lot of content? Hannibal was reusing content, and he got popped for reused content, huh? Let me know before we go off the air. Wow. Robert, we need to talk. Are you open to doing an interview with me, Robert? Are you open to doing a show with me? Your channel, my channel, both? Let me know. I have a lot of love and respect for you, man. And I want to support in any way that I can, man. Wow. I'm just waiting for Robert to respond. There's a 1 minute delay. Only 19 acceptance rate. You were picky. Of course I was picky. It was that crappy. Hey, at least my AR shows you I've never used the glitch. And I haven't driven in a while. Yeah. Dude, the order, I have screenshots of every order that came through my phone. I got so many screenshots. I did videos in the past. I'll reshare those and I'll show you screenshots again. I'm going to show you folks what I went through. How crappy the orders were. Also, a lot of shopping pays in my area. I would go to Walgreens and they were out of stock of everything. So I would waste my time doing shop and pays. I stopped doing shop and pays because wherever I would go do a shop and pay, they were out of stock. And then the customer substitutions were out of stock, or the customer didn't want substitutions. And I'd get a little bit of money for it, but not the full-blown amount. It was a waste of time. DoorDash getting no money to be made on YouTube. I can make more money recycling pop cans. And dude, there's plenty of money to make on YouTube if you do the right thing and you have a channel that takes off and gets good views. You did well, Eli. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, DoorDash Danny, I understand, man. Listen, not everyone is going to make good money on YouTube. I've been monetized for years on 2 channels. And, not everyone is going to make good money. I've made okay money. I've made like $5 or $6 grand between ad revenue and super chats, super stickers, and maybe some Cash App and PayPals. Welcome to the show, Uber Cheap AZ. We're about to go off the air. But I do hope to grow my channel more with the right people and help people in the most positive ways possible and make more money. Nothing wrong with doing that as long as you're transparent and you're not trying to sell people a pipe dream. Big George, no offense, but Richard came into your market and earned $2K in 6 days. You're doing something. Dude, he used the glitch. Dude, you know what, Big George? I'm about to ban you. I showed the screenshots of Richard doing that a couple days back. He used the glitch, dude, 7 months ago before we even knew about it. That's why he made that money here, and he had Prop 22 benefits. The most I made was almost $1,100, and I'll find the screenshots and show it to you guys. I believe it was 80 hours of dash time and 40 hours of active time. Yes, you were picky, and that's how Pedro taught his followers, and that's why some didn't make money. But I've always been a top dasher and did it my way and DoorDash way, of course. Well, how profitable were you? And do you have an electric car, or do you have a hybrid? If you have a gas-powered car and you're not taking orders at least $3 a mile, then you're not going to be profitable. If you have a hybrid or electric car, and it runs well for a while, and you take care of it, then you can be profitable. But most people have a gas power car, and you can't be profitable with a gas power car, in my opinion, unless you're taking orders that are $3 minimum per mile. Uber Jeep AZ, DoorDash Danny. Oh, a lot of people don't do YouTube seriously, which is why they never capitalize on it, but so many are making great money. So I was waiting for someone to respond. What was that message? There's so much is going on here. Give me a second here. Yeah, Hannibal got the boot on AdSense also. I'm waiting for Hot Facts with Robert Reese to respond, but I'm not hearing anything. Does anyone know when Hannibal got the boot from the YouTube partner program? Is this new? Because if this just happened, first Pedro, now Hannibal, if that's not saying enough there, these guys lost monetization because they were using other people's content without commentary, and they were using too much of it. Reused content. Uber Jeep AZ at Big George, tips will always be higher than base on DoorDash. I mean, base is like $1 to $2 on these orders. That's why you can't take no tip orders. No tip, no trip. DoorDash Danny, when I drove taxis, many would wait at the airport half the day, Eli, just for that one big pickup. Meanwhile, I did 40. and made twice as much, but that's taxis. Yeah, but you're still, and maybe gas was cheaper back then. But regardless, you're still paying for gas, man. I mean, and here's the thing: when you're doing rideshare or taxi driving, you're going from one pickup location to another. You're not doing multiple stops, per hour. On DoorDash and Uber Eats food delivery, you're doing anywhere from 15 to 20 to 30, stops per hour. From going to the restaurant to the customer place to your hotspot, back to a restaurant, taking the stacked order to restaurants to locations. You're going from place to place to place more often doing food delivery than doing rideshare or taxi driving. If you take 1 or 2 customers per hour, doing rideshare or taxi driving, you're basically doing 4 stops max. It is much more feasible, in my opinion, to do rideshare than to do food delivery. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's my opinion, based on fewer stops, less wear and tear on your car, probably more freeway mileage, right? More fuel efficiency, right? Especially if you have a gas-powered vehicle and not a hybrid or an electric. Can't even talk. Not a hybrid or an electric car. All right, folks. I'm going to wrap it up. I really hope that everything settles down in this community. I really hope people can see, the fluff content from the real content. If you like drama and you like trash talking, and that's what you're getting with some of these guys we talked about, do what you got to do. If you value your time and you're looking to learn and become more productive and make more money the right way, the reasonable way, and the ethical way, that's what we do over here on my end. With that being said, have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.